Motivated by the allure of exploration and the pursuit of discovery, Sir Ernest Shackleton assembled a team of intrepid explorers and set sail aboard the Endurance with the audacious goal of being the first to traverse the icy continent of Antarctica. Little did he know that this expedition would become one of the most legendary tales of survival in the annals of exploration history. As the Endurance embarked on its fateful voyage, Shackleton's indomitable spirit and unwavering determination propelled him into the heart of the Antarctic wilderness, where he would face unimaginable challenges and forge a legacy that would inspire generations to come. So, what's the history of Ernest Shackleton and the Endurance expedition? Few names evoke the spirit of adventure and resilience quite like Ernest Shackleton. Born on February 15th, 1874, in Kilkea, Ireland, Shackleton cherished his Irish heritage throughout his life, proudly proclaiming himself as an Irishman on numerous occasions. From his early years, Shackleton immersed himself in books, igniting within him a fervent love for adventure that would define his life's journey. As a young boy, Shackleton didn't stand out academically and was often described as finding his studies uninspiring. Nevertheless, in his last term at school, Shackleton managed to secure 5th place among 31 classmates, showcasing a glimpse of his latent potential. Shackleton's restlessness during his school years was palpable, leading him to be granted permission to embark on a seafaring journey at the age of 16. His father's connections secured him a position with the Northwestern Shipping Company, where he served aboard the square-rigged sailing ship Houghton Tower. During his next 4 years at sea, Shackleton honed his skills, traversed diverse corners of the globe, and cultivated relationships with individuals from myriad backgrounds, enriching his understanding of the world. In August 1894, Shackleton successfully passed his examination for second mate, leading him to assume the role of third officer on a tramp steamer with the Welsh Shire Line. 2 years later, he obtained his first mate certification, and by 1898, Shackleton achieved the prestigious title of Master Mariner, granting him the authority to command a British vessel anywhere across the globe. By 1914, Shackleton had already established himself as a seasoned veteran of Antarctic exploration, having led 2 major expeditions: the Discovery Expedition of 1901 to 1904 and the Nimrod Expedition of 1907 till 1909 had solidified his reputation as a fearless explorer. While both missions were hailed as successes in the field of polar exploration, the ultimate conquest of reaching the South Pole remained elusive. It was Norwegian explorer Roald Amundsen who claimed the coveted prize in 1911, leaving Shackleton with an unquenchable thirst for further adventure and discovery. For Ernest Shackleton to carve his own legacy, he realised he needed to pursue a different path, setting the stage for an extraordinary venture beyond conventional boundaries. Ultimately, Shackleton resolved to undertake an audacious quest, the inaugural transcontinental crossing of Antarctica. Shackleton acquired a robust 300-ton ship originally named Polaris, crafted in Norway and intended for Arctic cruises. Renaming her Endurance, he imbued the vessel with the spirit of his family motto, "By endurance we conquer," symbolising the resilience and determination that would define their forthcoming expedition. The magnitude of the journey demanded Shackleton's strategic decision to deploy 2 teams. One team would embark from South America, while the other would depart from Tasmania, each destined to converge on opposite sides of the continent, united in their ambitious quest to conquer the icy expanse of Antarctica. Given the limitations of the Southern American party's capacity to carry supplies, the Tasmania party faced the daunting task of traversing nearly a third of the entire continent, undertaking their own arduous journey to establish crucial supply depots essential for the success of Shackleton's expedition. While the plan held promise, Shackleton's grand vision was thwarted by unforeseen circumstances. Unprecedented cold temperatures led to the unfortunate entrapment of his ship in the ice before even reaching Antarctica, dealing a crippling blow to the expedition's ambitions. Despite being tantalizingly close, The mere proximity of land proved insignificant, as Shackleton's expedition found itself at the mercy of the encroaching ice. With less than 100 miles separating them from the continent, the harsh reality set in. They would have to bide their time until the ice thawed, a process that could extend for months, delaying their much-anticipated arrival on the shores of Antarctica. As if being immobilized by the ice wasn't dire enough, the ship was vulnerable to the relentless forces of undersea currents, which exerted incredible pressure, threatening to crush their hopes and dreams along with the ship itself. In a desperate bid to mitigate the risk of the ice's crushing force, Shackleton resorted to removing weight from the vessel, hoping to increase its buoyancy should the ice converge. Miles away from the safety of the shore, relentless blizzards and freezing winds besieged Shackleton and his crew, compounding their plight. With no means of escape, they could only endure the agonizing wait, which stretched on for 6 interminable months of bitter cold and relentless isolation at the mercy of nature's icy grip. Life aboard the Endurance was punctuated by routines designed to maintain morale amidst the harsh Antarctic conditions. The men and dogs engaged in regular exercise on the ice, fostering camaraderie and physical well-being. Special occasions were marked by celebrations with double rations, providing a brief respite from the monotony of daily life. Leonard Hussey, the meteorologist, played a pivotal role in uplifting spirits with his skillful banjo playing, filling the icy air with melodies that provided solace and comfort in the midst of adversity. As October drew to a close, the ship bore the brunt of the relentless ice, sustaining significant damage to its stern. Within a matter of days, it became painfully evident that the Endurance was no match for the unforgiving forces of nature, spelling the inevitable demise of their once stalwart vessel. On October 27th, facing the harsh reality of the situation, Shackleton made the gut-wrenching decision to abandon ship, marking the tragic loss of Endurance and thrusting the crew into the unforgiving embrace of the Antarctic wilderness. As the challenges intensified, Shackleton made the difficult decision to lighten the load, instructing his crew to discard all but 2 pounds of their personal possessions. However, he made exceptions for items deemed of great historical importance, including Frank Hurley's invaluable photographs and film reels, and items indispensable for morale and well-being, such as Hussey's cherished banjo. Hussey's musical talent served as a lifeline for many of the crew members, offering a much-needed mental tonic during the most terrifying moments of their journey, when the harsh realities of their situation threatened to overwhelm them. With the loss of Endurance, any lingering hope of completing the mission was shattered. Shackleton's sole purpose now shifted to the daunting task of ensuring the survival and safe return of his men to civilization. Yet, the path ahead promised to be fraught with peril and adversity, presenting an extraordinary challenge unlike any other. After drifting an astonishing 1,186 miles over the course of 281 days, Shackleton and his team found themselves approximately 350 miles from the remote Paulet Island, the nearest outpost offering potential shelter and crucial supplies for their survival. As they salvaged what they could before the ship succumbed to the icy depths, the group faced dwindling supplies and the stark reality of their predicament. With their provisions running dangerously low, they resorted to supplementing their diet by hunting seals and, in a desperate bid for sustenance, even consuming penguins, adapting to the harsh realities of survival. For close to a month, they toiled tirelessly, salvaging precious supplies and equipment from the doomed vessel before they watched as it was swallowed by the icy depths. With the ship gone, the team embarked on their perilous journey, facing the vast expanse of the Antarctic wilderness with determination and resolve, knowing that their survival depended on the resilience and resourcefulness in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. Shackleton's audacious plan involved leading his team on a daring march across the frozen expanse towards the northern tip of Antarctica. In the event that the ice floe beneath their feet fractured, they would rely on the lifeboats salvaged from the Endurance, braving the treacherous waters of the Southern Ocean in their quest for survival. With the sinking of their ship, The primary mission had come to an end, and the fate of the sled dogs grew increasingly uncertain. Not only did they pose a potential drain on limited food supplies, but the reality was that the dogs consumed more meat than they contributed to the team's survival, rendering them more of a liability than an asset. On October 20th, 1915, recognizing the grim necessity of conserving precious resources, Shackleton and his second-in-command, Frank Wild, made the difficult decision to shoot 5 of the dogs and the expedition's cat, marking a somber moment in their struggle for survival. By January 1916, Shackleton and his team had killed a total of 30 dogs, acknowledging that their provisions were running critically low. By that juncture, hunger and desperation had reached such extreme levels that the men were willing to consume anything edible, regardless of its origin or taste. Frank Wild later reflected with a poignant regret, remarking, "I've known many men who I would rather have shot than these dogs." Shackleton and his team commenced their journey northward across the shifting ice floes. Yet their progress was hindered by the unpredictable and formidable challenges posed by the ever-changing ice and harsh weather conditions. Not until April did breaks in the ice finally present themselves, offering the men a fleeting opportunity to navigate their lifeboat through the open waters. This long-awaited development marked a pivotal moment in their arduous journey towards potential rescue and escape from the icy grip of Antarctica. Initially aiming to reach Deception Island, the relentless exposure to the freezing seawater took its toll on the exhausted men. On April 15th, they made landfall on the 7-mile-long beach of Elephant Island, situated off the northernmost peninsula of Antarctica. This arrival marked a crucial turning point in their journey, offering a temporary reprieve from the harsh elements and a glimmer of hope for their survival. It was a momentous occasion as Shackleton and his men set foot on land for the first time in 497 days. This newfound stability offered them a respite from the relentless challenges of their ordeal, providing a rare sense of safety and security after months of enduring the harsh and unforgiving wilderness. Camping on solid ground provided an exponentially safer refuge compared to the precariousness of their previous existence on the shifting ice floes, where the constant threat of fragmentation loomed ominously with each passing moment. After a thorough evaluation of their options, Shackleton concluded that their best chance of rescue lay in reaching South Georgia Island. Determined to save his men, he resolved to embark on an arduous voyage across the tumultuous Southern Ocean in a daring bid to seek aid and secure the survival of his stranded crew left on Elephant Island. The daunting reality confronted Shackleton. South Georgia Island lay over 900 miles away, across some of the most treacherous waters on the planet. With nothing but a 20-foot lifeboat at his disposal, he faced the Herculean task of navigating through the tough seas in a daring attempt to reach their distant beacon of hope. As if the immense distance wasn't challenging enough, locating the tiny outpost on South Georgia Island, measuring just 100 miles long and 20 miles wide, presented another formidable obstacle. Shackleton and his crew would have to rely solely on navigation skills, utilizing nothing but a chronometer and a sextant to guide them through the vast and unforgiving expanse of the Southern Ocean. With resourcefulness and determination, Shackleton and his crew outfitted the lifeboat with a mast and meticulously loaded it with provisions to sustain them for a month, bracing themselves for the perilous journey ahead. He understood that within a month they would either succeed in reaching South Georgia Island and securing assistance, or their chances of survival would diminish significantly in the face of the relentless challenges of the open sea. Alongside 5 other men, Shackleton set sail on April 24, their hopes resting on the distant shores of South Georgia Island and the promise of rescue beyond the horizon. Frank Wild assumed command of the 22 men who remained behind on Elephant Island, entrusted with the daunting responsibility of leading and maintaining the morale of the stranded crew while awaiting Shackleton's return. Shackleton's boat travelled approximately 60 miles per day, steadily inching closer to their elusive destination amidst the vast expanse of the Southern Ocean. The sailors battled the unforgiving elements as they were repeatedly drenched by the fierce and treacherous seas. Each wave crashing against the decks soaked them to the bone, leaving them cold, wet, and exhausted. Over the next few weeks, they endured the relentless onslaught of the elements, their bodies soaked and frostbitten, their skin rubbed raw and irritated by the constant exposure of the frigid seawater. Despite the harsh conditions, they pressed on, driven by sheer determination and the unwavering hope of reaching their destination. On the 5th day of their journey, they were battered by a powerful gale that threatened to capsize their already fragile vessel. The biting cold temperatures caused the seawater splashing onto the boat to freeze into heavy layers. The crew had to continuously chip away at the ice buildup, further complicating their already perilous situation. Additionally, they were forced to discard any excess weight, including the frozen sleeping bags and spare oars, in order to maintain speed and increase their chances of navigating through the turbulent waters safely. On the 7th day of their arduous journey, the sun finally emerged behind the clouds, casting its warm rays upon the weary crew. By this point, they had managed to traverse approximately 350 miles of the vast and unforgiving Southern Ocean. Following a brief respite of calm seas, the crew faced yet another trial on the 11th day, as another powerful gale swept over them, threatening to overwhelm their already battered vessel. The ferocity of the storm tested their limits once again, pushing them to the brink of disaster as they struggled to keep their small lifeboat afloat amidst the raging tempest. Finally, after enduring countless trials and battling against the elements for 14 grueling days, the crew's perseverance was rewarded as they spotted the rugged coastline of South Georgia Island on the horizon. This long-awaited sight filled them with the renewed hope and sense of accomplishment, signalling the beginning of the next phase of their remarkable journey. Despite the elation of spotting South Georgia Island, the crew's jubilation was short-lived, as they realized the daunting challenge of finding a suitable landing spot amidst the hurricane-force conditions. Forced to endure another harrowing night on their tiny boat, they clung to each other for support, their hopes tempered by the reality of the relentless storm raging around them. The following day, their perseverance paid off as they finally made landfall on King Haakon Bay. However, their ordeal was far from over. King Haakon Bay is nestled among the rugged and untamed southern coast of the island. Confronted by the challenge of a broken rudder, the men reluctantly accepted that their only option was to embark on a daring journey across the island on foot. This daunting decision marked the beginning of an unprecedented journey, one that would demand traversing a landscape of rugged rocks, treacherous ice, and towering glaciers reaching elevations of 5,000 feet, all shrouded in deep snow. Despite the immense challenges that lay ahead, they had no choice but to press onward, driven by the fierce determination to overcome whatever obstacles stood in their path. 3 of the men, weakened by their ordeal, were unable to make the journey. Shackleton, along with 2 others, embarked on the trek, while the remaining men stayed behind at the bay. With only 3 days' worth of provisions, they prepared for the laborious trek by attaching screws to the bottom of their worn boots to enhance the traction on the icy terrain. In a calculated gamble, they left their sleeping bags behind, opting to travel as lightly as possible in order to maximize their chances of reaching their destination. Their ultimate objective was the whaling station at Stromness, a remote outpost nestled amidst the formidable peaks and valleys of South Georgia Island. The only uncertainty was that Shackleton hadn't been there in 2 years, and he couldn't be completely sure whether the station was still inhabited. Undeterred, the trio embarked on their journey on May 19th, setting out at 2 a.m. under the ethereal glow of a full moon. Much of the first day was consumed with navigating through the labyrinthine glaciers, and they found themselves disorientated and off course, forcing them to retrace their steps in an effort to regain their bearings. Recognizing the need to descend from the perilous high altitudes, they made the daring decision to tether themselves together and descend down the steep incline using ropes, a risky yet necessary maneuver to expedite their progress towards their destination. Their bold tactic proved successful, allowing them to overcome the daunting descent. However, their journey was far from over, as they still had to conquer another 2,000-foot elevation gain and navigate a formidable 25-foot waterfall before finally reaching the outskirts of Stromness. After enduring months of relentless challenges and facing the harsh realities of their ordeal, 3 men were visibly fatigued and weather-beaten, their physical and mental resilience pushed to the brink by the arduous journey. Their clothes were filthy and tattered, worn from months of exposure to the elements, while their once well-groomed appearance had been replaced by unkempt, long hair and beards. As they neared the whaling station, Shackleton and his men were greeted by the distant sound of a whistle echoing across the landscape, summoning men to their duties. To Shackleton, this sound was more than just a call to work. It was the sweetest music the human ear could ever hear, a symbol of hope and salvation after their harrowing journey. When they encountered 2 children on their way to the station, their reaction was predictably amusing, perhaps a mixture of astonishment and curiosity at the sight of the 3 bedraggled and weather-beaten men emerging from the wilderness. Shackleton inquired about the station master by name, causing the children's eyes to widen with fear. Without a word, they promptly turned on their heels and fled in the opposite direction, leaving Shackleton and his men bemused by their unexpected reaction. When Shackleton finally tracked down the station, he was met with bewilderment from the man in charge, who seemed to have no recollection of their previous encounter, despite having met Shackleton before. However, after they confirmed their identities and recounted the incredible tale of their journey, they were treated with the utmost respect and hospitality. Whalers, astonished and deeply moved by the men's achievements, listened intently, some even overcome with emotion and shedding tears. Hot baths, refreshing haircuts, lavish new clothes, and a scrumptious meal were generously provided for Shackleton and his men. As evening fell, a boat was prepared, and later that night, Shackleton nestled into his warm, comfortable bed in a room illuminated by electric lighting. He fondly recalled, "We were so comfortable that we were unable to sleep." The 3 men Shackleton left behind were swiftly retrieved by the whaling ship from Stromness. However, rescuing the other 22 men who remained behind on Elephant Island would prove to be a far more daunting and challenging task. Amidst the turmoil of the First World War, the British government found itself severely constrained in terms of available resources, making the task of mounting a rescue mission for the 22 men stranded on Elephant Island a formidable and challenging endeavour. Shackleton attempted to reach Elephant Island aboard the whaling ship, but his progress was thwarted by a formidable barrier of solid ice, forcing him to turn back. Undeterred by initial setbacks, Shackleton made 3 more valiant attempts to reach Elephant Island, each time facing substantial challenges and adverse conditions, yet each time falling short of his goal. Finally, the Chilean government intervened and offered assistance by providing a small tugboat named the Yelcho, offering a glimmer of hope for the stranded men on Elephant Island. It embarked on its journey on the 20th of August, and a mere 5 days later, just as the 22 men on Elephant Island were preparing for a meal of penguin breast and stewed seal bones, the long-awaited arrival of the Yelcho came as a welcome and timely relief. The men watched eagerly as the Yelcho lowered a smaller boat into the water, and their anticipation grew as the figure at the helm of the smaller boat became clearer. As Ernest Shackleton himself approached, he called out, "All well?" Frank Wilde responded resolutely, "All safe, all well," echoing the relief and gratitude felt by the men upon their long-awaited rescue. Within an hour, all 22 men were safely aboard the Yelcho, embarking on their journey back to Punta Arenas, Chile, marking the triumphant conclusion of their incredible saga of survival and endurance in the frozen frontier. Due to the ongoing war, when Shackleton returned to Britain, he did not receive the level of attention and recognition that one might have expected for his remarkable feat of leadership and survival. Shortly after his return, Shackleton volunteered for the army and became involved in military efforts in both Norway and Russia. Once the war concluded, Shackleton, driven by his insatiable spirit of exploration, borrowed money from a college classmate to fund yet another expedition to Antarctica. This ambitious venture aimed to achieve the unprecedented feat of circumnavigating the frigid expanse of the continent. However, despite his relentless determination, Shackleton's health had been declining in the years leading up to this expedition. Tragically, on January 4, 1922, at the age of 47, shortly after arriving on South Georgia Island, he succumbed to a fatal heart attack, leaving behind a legacy of unparalleled courage and exploration. It was at the behest of his wife, Emily, that Ernest Shackleton was laid to rest in a small cemetery in South Georgia Island. This heartfelt gesture ensured that Shackleton's legacy would forever be intertwined with the untamed beauty of the Antarctic wilderness he had so valiantly explored. As the sun sets over the icy expanse of Antarctica, we reflect on the extraordinary life of Sir Ernest Shackleton, from his daring expeditions to his unwavering leadership in the face of adversity. Shackleton's legacy continues to inspire generations of explorers and adventurers around the world. As we journey through the frozen landscapes he once traversed, we are reminded of the indomitable human spirit and the power of perseverance in the most unforgiving of environments. Though Shackleton may have left this world, his spirit lives on in the hearts of all who dare to push the boundaries of exploration. As we bid farewell to this remarkable explorer, we are left with the enduring words of Shackleton himself: "Difficulties are just things to overcome, after all."